So very good morning to one and all present here. So we have been discussing on the concepts of organizing. Before to that, we were discussing on planning and decision making and what the industry objectives and goals has to be. So here we will be discussing on the process of organization, which actually deals with the course outcome too, and we will be seeing that what are those process of organization. So organization means deciding decisions of or you have to come out with a proper organization structure. The manager differentiates and integrates the activity of the organization, designing the concepts whatever it is required. Then differentiation in is meant the process of departmentalization or segmentation of activities on the basis of the work what has to be done, and you have to have also the integration in the is the process of achieving the unit efforts among the various departments. So we have to accumulate all the designing requirements, or what are the structural requirements or the industry needs. All those things has to be looked in properly, and we have to come out with a solution for that. So then we have 7 steps procedure which is required to understand in the process of organizing, that is consideration of objectives. So as I have been very much precise in explaining the objectives, and every industry has to define their own objectives to achieve a specific task. So objectives determine the various activities which need to be performed and the type of organization which need to build for this purpose. So that is the first one, consideration of objectives. So a well-defined objectives will take the organization to a better positions further. Then we have deciding organizational boundaries. So it's very much important to set the organization boundaries so that you work within that to achieve. When you have a specific boundary, it's not be wide open for it will have a certain specific task to be performed. So that will be very much better. It will be good for the industry to grow in a better way. Then you have grouping of activities into departments. So to identify the activities necessary to achieve them, and to group the closely related and similar activities into the departments and sections. And also we'll be talking about deciding which departments will be the key departments. So we have in an organization will be having finance related people working on finance, some people will be working on sales. So you have different classifications of department and departmental activities essential for the fulfillment of certain goals and standards. So then you have determining levels at which various types of decisions are to be made. So the different levels at which the various and major and minor decisions are to be made must be determined. So which level which kind of decision has to be made. Some decisions has to be made at the top level, and some of the decisions can be made at the managerial level. So those things has to be understood carefully, and also you have to understand that how best to take up a decision for that particular situation. And determining the span of management, that is designing the structure is to determine the number of subordinates who should report directly to each executive also has to be looked into. Then you have setting up a coordination mechanism. As individuals and departments carry out their specialized activities, the overall goals of the organization may become a conflict, and you have to make sure that you have a better coordination mechanism between the individuals, and you make sure that you check all these things in a interval of time, and the activities and decisions relation activities, all those things whatever it is relevant for proper functioning of the organization has to be taken care in a precise way. So these are some of the processes of organizing which we have to come across, and then we will be discussing on the principles of organizing. So as we have few principles of organizing like objectives are very much important for any enterprise of our organization or to have a structure, and hence the objectives helps us to have a clarity or it defines the specific task to be performed at the regular intervals of time. Then you have specialization. The activities of the enterprise should be divided according to the function of assigned to the person according to their specialization. Then we have span of control. As there is a limit to the number of persons that can be supervised effectively by one boss, the span of control should be far as possible the minimum. So as we have seen the 3 points like objective specialization and span of control, we also have management by some principles, exception principles, like only complex problems should be referred to higher levels and other problems should be dealt in the lower level itself. It's very important thing to be understood here. So all the things should not be taken forward to the higher levels. If it is to be it can be completed at that particular level, it has to be solved at that point of time itself, at that place itself. So all the things taking to a next level is not a better thing what any organization can practice. As well as then you have a chain of command where you have to the line of authority from the chief executive at the top to the first level of supervisor at the bottom must have the clarity of thought. It's very important to be understood because chain of command plays a major role. Like somebody at the top says something, and when it reaches to the down, it will become something else. It should not happen. There should be a clarity of thought from the top to down. And you have unity of command. Each subordinate should have only one superior who commands here, and he has to obey for that. So it should be very much important that any set of people should have only one boss, or you can say that one leader who can guide them or who can motivate them, who can take whose decisions has value for them. So all those things has to be taken care. That is unity of command. Then we have delegation. That is proper authority should be delegated at the lower levels of organization also. The authority delegated should be equally responsibility. So you should have a proper delegation of power, and it is very important, and each individual should be held responsible for whatever activities he has been given for. So then we have responsibility. The superior should be held responsible for all the acts that the subordinates perform. So, and he should make sure that the subordinates do the work properly and come out with a better results. Then authority is the tool by which the manager is able to accomplish the desired objectives. So then efficiency, the organization structure should be able to enterprise function effectively and accomplish the objectives at the lowest possible cost. So we have to make sure that all the all the objectives, whatever it is framed by the topmost management, has to be accomplished at the best possible with a lower cost involved in it. Then you have simplicity. Organization structure should be simple as possible and level should be as far as possible be minimum. And you must also have flexibility. Each organization should be adaptable to changes and circumstances. So as you know that there will be variation in circumstances at every instant of or yearly basis. So you have to just get adapted to those technologies and those changes, and come work flexibly to those situations. Then you have to have a balance, that is reasonable balance in the size of various departments. between centralization and decentralization. Then the next one is unity of direction, one objective and one plan for a group of activities having the same objective. Then personal ability, so there is a need for proper selection, placement, and training of staffs. Then accessibility, the structure of the organization should be acceptable uh, to the people who constitute it. So that's what all these things constitute the principles of organization. It's not that you have to understand this by points, you have to just practice these points so that you come across all these levels of principles of which is helpful for a better organization structure. So every individual has to focus on their responsibilities, and finally they have to focus on the requirements, what is or the objectives set by the industry or the academic institutions. So with that, I just conclude here. Thank you all for being part of this session. Thank you.